Hello, my name is Carrie Lentz, and I'm the District Vice President for Edmonton East at TD Canada Trust. TD is very proud to sponsor Eric's New Women's Chapter of the Career Mentorship Program. This program will feature a series of modules designed with women in mind for professional growth and personal wellness. Please check back each month for new and exciting installments. Enjoy!
Well, onboarding is really a process where an organization brings a new employee in and, acclimates them to the environment and sets them up for success. It's generally an ongoing process, but when you initially come on, there's a bit of an orientation, usually the first maybe day, couple of days. And then there's subsequent sort of onboarding events after that. But really what to expect from it is you're getting acclimated into the organization. So you're likely going to have some orientation around the organization's mission, values, maybe some of their history. Also, you're going to be meeting your upline manager. They'll be running through expectations of your role, maybe some of your training aspects, giving you a bit more detail there so you have a good sense of your expectations. You'll be meeting with other individuals related to payroll, to benefits, getting that all set up, giving you an opportunity to ask questions around that. Health, and if the organization has health and safety policies, you'll be acclimated to that, maybe doing non-disclosure agreements, criminal checks, running through getting your technology set up. So lots of different things, just getting your foundation set up so that you can kind of go from there and start becoming a productive and active member of the team. Also, what we're seeing a lot of organizations do right now as well is they have programs around mentors or buddies. So this is an informal sort of situation where this is, and no reporting relationship whatsoever, but this person is there for the new employee just to ask general questions. So even, once we're all back in the office again, or people have some office time, where do you get the coffee? What if the printer isn't working? Just those kinds of questions, just to help people feel more comfortable more quickly with the team and with the organization. It'll help you be a more active member to the organization more quickly, because you will know how to navigate things, you'll know where to find things, you'll know how the company wants it done. So really, it's a very, very important part of you joining an organization. And that's why more and more organizations are doing an onboarding process. Because for years, when I was first in my career, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, but it was a bit ago, companies didn't have as robust onboarding programs as we see now. And the reason that has changed is because they've seen how it's critical to helping somebody feel comfortable and be more productive more quickly. So there's definitely a number of people. And again, every organization is going to run through this a little bit differently, but in general, so your upline manager, 100%, you're going to be working with them more related specifically to your role. And then human resources usually gets involved helping, because every organization has different employee policies, of course, the benefit programs, and usually human resources gets involved in the type of stuff. So they'll run through some of that with you, help you set up your benefit programs. Payroll is sometimes done by human resources as well, or separately. So they'll help you get that going, because that's obviously very important. We all work to get paid, right? So we get that set up. IT, so the technology side, they are very critical, especially nowadays with people working remotely. So they definitely get involved as well. So ensuring that all your technology is working, you may have somebody sitting desk side with you, just making sure everything's connecting initially. Or, if you're again working remotely, that will, some of that would be done remotely. So you'll be working with them. And then you may have a mentor or a buddy introduced to you. So you'll, have an opportunity to connect with them, just have some casual discussions with them and have them as a contact moving forward. Well, it generally is, and particularly now, I would suggest it's an ongoing process. So initially, again, you'll have an orientation, and that again may be half a day, it might be a couple of days, it depends on how the organization does that. And that's where they will really initially go through and get all of your critical things set up and get you introduced to the individuals that you need to know to really get going. But then over time, they're going to layer on additional training. You may meet even more people, different teams as your role continues to grow and expand. And so it can go on for up to 6 months, even sometimes even a year, depending on the nature of your role. And the reason why organizations are now really looking to stagger some of that, and even at Robert Half, we started staggering it a bit more, is just there's so much that comes at a new employee when they first start that it's just overwhelming, and you can't expect them to be able to absorb everything that's given to them. So in order for them to really be able to take in what they need at the time and leverage that, and then take it in, a little bit more and then leverage that, you need to stagger how you're introducing them to different aspects of their role, their company, all of that. Make sure you're communicating, and again, particularly with your upline manager, help them understand that where you're at, and always, emphasize, like if you're having fun and things are going really well, like definitely emphasize that. But also if you're feeling a bit apprehensive or you're not sure about things, make sure you're letting them know that too. The communication piece is so important, because again, you're setting up that foundation. And so you need to make sure you get that right. And in order for them to help you with that, they need to know where you're at. So having that two-way communication. And then the participation piece is really around, because generally when you start with an organization, they're going to want to, have you participate or be a part of different like lunches or those sorts of things, team meetings. So if you're invited to a team lunch as kind of an introductory lunch to either your group or another group, make sure you can make it and make sure you make the most of it. If the organization you're a part of has Friday afternoons, they might maybe go for to a pub and have a snack, or maybe they go to a patio in the summer, or maybe they have events like that maybe once a month, that kind of thing, or even in the lunchroom, like potlucks and things like that. Make sure that you're there and you're participating, because that is your opportunity to really get to know your colleagues and really get, again, a further sense of the corporate culture and how people interact. And it's just so important, not only in the short term to help you feel comfortable and a part of the organization, but for you in the long term, because it's those relationships that are going to help you grow in your career. So it's really, really important that you also participate in everything that you can when you first start. Some of the things that have really changed is maybe some of the order that things are done in. So, because historically, when everything was generally in the office, when you were going through the onboarding process, you might delve into the technology side and the setup side. Maybe your first day, more likely maybe your second day. But now, because in a remote world, without the technology, you have access to nothing else. That is actually the first thing that needs to be handled. And it is quite often handled before you even start with the organization. So generally before your first day, if you're going to be using an organization's equipment, which is usually how most organizations would work it, you either go there to pick it up, whether it's curbside pickup or whatever the scenario is. You get all your technical equipment, as well as sometimes they'll provide you a little bit of swag and maybe some other documentation. And you'll come home and they'll give you instructions on how to get set up. And you may be in contact with a technical support individual again before you even start to make sure that everything's working for that first day. But if you are using your own equipment, generally the organization will send you a link and information so you can link into their VPN network or however they want that set up. So that all gets done. So then on the first day, you are able to jump on, and usually there's group meetings that are set up on virtual platforms like Zoom or MS Teams or Google Meets or whatever the organization uses. And that's your opportunity to meet with your new team. There's also sometimes you might even be brought into a branch meeting, and that happens with us at Robert Half in Edmonton, for example. When sometimes people start on a Monday, well, that's when we have our branch meetings. So their very first meeting with the organization is the whole branch, and they get introduced on that branch meeting. And usually before the person starts on that first day, they've had communication with their upline manager. So the upline manager will obviously give them a heads up that this is what your first day is going to look like. And you may be asked on your first day just to introduce yourself to the team or to the branch, the larger team, and say a few words about yourself. So we sometimes, kind of giggle and joke about how we put people on the spot. But it's usually a lot of fun. So yeah, it's just a lot of it is just that you're having to kind of take things on yourself and kind of walk through some of the stuff yourself. And then the technology piece is just huge. That's what's really changed a lot in our remote world.